wanted to comment is that Palincumbe and other works I've written are following a tradition of classical compositions that started in a certain nationalist era of Latin America, but then those tendencies and those schools and ideas were interrupted by a huge disruption of values in the arts, where suddenly it was not trendy to work with folkloric or popular things,
Right.
because it was you either had pure roots or real folklore, whatever that means, which is not true, it doesn't exist. I mean, and or you were an academic composer, and then you had to go the way that Webern and the serialists and then the post-serialists had launched in the academic world. So
Right.
this came at a point after the Second World War where things became very academic and extremely intellectual in the composition world.
Yeah.
This obviously had its backlashes and its changes in the ages, in the 80s and the 90s, and the minimalism and the neo-romantics and all that, and the neo-tonal movements and everything, and the ethnic world music influences.
Right.
But the huge bank of ideas and the huge reservoir of music that's in Latin America, in the Caribbean, also in Africa, because we have ties to
We have ties to both old continents.
Exactly. So that huge bank of ideas that's alive and well and doing all sorts of things and blending and mixing up in South America, in Latin America, in the Caribbean, that bank of ideas is so powerful that I don't understand why we interrupted our research in those cocktails.
I always like to call that period kind of the laboratory where it yielded some results, and some of those experiments are just kind of information to be stored for who knows what. But we seem to be getting back to writing and performing new music that goes with the natural palette.
Probably, and also I think that the ties with natural listeners, that is something I was talking about. It was like amateur listeners, let's call them that way. It's not really amateur, because amateur in the good sense, like people who love to listen.
Right.
The ties with the audience are important, and the community are very important nowadays, because an orchestra is an extremely expensive thing for a community. It costs a lot of money to run, and obviously it doesn't have to be a sleeping pill every time there's a concert. Like, okay, we're going to hear Beethoven are just going to fall asleep and we've heard it 100 times. No, it has to have creative motion with back and forth motion with the community. The community has to like it, say I like it, and then I like this, I like that, and also stir up some ideas.
I actually like to think of it that the fact that we do new music with this approach brings back the original spirit of Beethoven and Mozart and these people. I always feel that when I do it, when I do a lot of new music with this kind of collaborative and fresh spirit, then I'm reminded that those people were also writing for people.
Exactly. Absolutely.
And like you say, the orchestra it's a big, expensive, it's a complex reflection of its community, isn't it? I mean, in the end, it's part of the audience. It's part. Like I always like to say, without the audience, it ain't a concert. It's a rehearsal.
Absolutely.
Really.
Yeah. And there's something also about the value of concert music. I mean, now there's music for everything in life. There's music for entertainment, for drinking beer, for birthday party. There's music for dancing. There's music for also jazz has an enormous sphere of various listening registers. You have, extremely sophisticated jazz orchestras, and orchestrations, and groups, and obviously the jazz solo is still a great form of expression and is really a careful listening experience where every minute counts, every second counts. But concert music also has a very specific slot in the cultural events of a city and a community. And I think it's the role of music, and the symbolic, poetic role of music, is to bring value to the instant. I mean, it's every second, a great melody, a great solo, a little great color in the orchestra that just lasts for a few seconds can just mark your entire evening and become something.
Okay, but that's a timeless
Yeah,
effect.
yeah, it's a timeless. You're in a different dimension, and concert music can achieve that, and is meant to achieve those things. It's meant to achieve a higher degree of value of each instant that you're living through. So that increased value of time, an appreciation of time and value, and giving more value to each minute, every breath, that is a function of concert music. And that's why we have to pay attention to that contact with the community. So the community can develop its intelligence and understanding of music, but also the events have to develop something in their direction too. So I think the composer is the medium, is the bridge to achieve that. And my trip here is also very interesting and very important for me because I can breathe the air here. I can see how how things are.
You know who you're writing for, and you've got to see the orchestra.
Absolutely.
So you feel you're writing for people and through people.
And absolutely. And when I'm there with the score at home, I know exactly what the experience is. I can visualize, I can see the people, and I can feel the group. It's very, very important. I mean, I've written for unknown orchestras and unknown people, but most of the time I know who I'm writing for, and I know what the philosophy is of that particular ensemble. I think that it's a very personal and direct engagement when you write for an orchestra like this, for you, for my friend, for a community. It's a very, very personal, very, very intimate engagement, contact. It's very, very important. I mean, I don't take it lightly, and I think it's also an experience for me to create new things, and I'd like to, invent something new and that can be played and listened to.
Well, so we have a very, very vibrant community here in Birmingham, and we have some really great friends, and we're getting out there to conquer more hearts of music listeners who come, and I can't wait for the community to get to know you better during the course of this season, and to see the process of an actual composition, and to see other works that you already have in your repertoire. Thank you so much, Paul, and I invite you all to join us both in our Classical Edge series, to follow the whole process of our sound investment composer, Paul Desenne. And of course, during our masterworks, we'll be premiering a whole symphonic work by Paul. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure.